Welcome back to Broken Electronics. I'm Lee, and it's good to be with you today. What we're going to do today is take a look at the computers that I have involved in the Folding at Home project, which unites personal computers in doing research fighting disease, particularly appropriate at this time, this being pandemic times. I've got 12 computers currently folding, 5 Mac Minis, 4 Mac Pros, 2 iMacs, and a MacBook Pro. Now, what I'm particularly interested in, how these 5 Mac Minis are going to stand up against the Mac Pros. Now, if you'd like to find that out, stay tuned. Well, excuse the ghetto appearance of this. I will eventually clean this up. This is the main Mac Mini farm, as it were, engaged in folding. There are 4 minis there. I have one other mini folding that's up in the master bedroom. These minis do have one small advantage over the other machines that are folding, in that they are the only computers that are hardwired. The rest of the house here is all wireless. So yeah, we have a 2010 Mac Mini, the 4,1, a 2011 Mac Mini, an 11,2, 2012 Mac Mini, 6,1, and the remarkably powerful 2018 Mac Mini, 8,1. So, we'll see how these stack up against their competition, primarily the Mac Pros. Stay tuned. And here we have the main Mac Pro farm. We've got 4 Mac Pros engaged in folding. One of them is in my music studio, aka the Banjo Cave. But up here we have, on the right, the 2006 1,1, which has been upgraded and flashed with 2,1, the 2008 3,1, and the 2010 5,1, which is currently a dual CPU 8 core, awaiting upgrade. Now, how will they fare against their main competition, the Mac Minis? That we shall find out. Stay tuned. Something of the 2 farms of folding devices. We're going to take a look at what the individual machines are doing, and a little bit of a look at the team and where I'm ranking and all of that. I basically divided this into 3 categories, or sub-teams, if you will. Now, I've got 12 machines that are currently folding. 5 Mac Minis, 4 Mac Pros, and 3 others, 2 iMacs and a MacBook Pro. I'm going to say this right off before I forget. Those machines all run 24/7 full power. This Mac Pro that I'm sitting in front of is not folding because this is like the one that I use all the time. The one exception to that is the MacBook Pro. I do not recommend folding with a MacBook Pro, at least not folding full bore, full on with the Mac Pro. You're going to run into heating problems. The Mac Minis seem to do fine. I've got them in a well-ventilated area, and it's relatively cool there, so not a great problem. The Mac Pros, well, those things are tanks. You know, they're designed to be pushed, and they're doing fine. The guest room where three of those Mac Pros are gets a little toasty, even with the AC on. But all that's doing fine. So yeah, that caveat about MacBook Pros and folding. Well, anyway, let's take a look at Team Mac Mini here. I'm going to start with the 2010 4,1 Mac Mini. And just to get a look here, to get an idea of the specs, we're talking about a 2.4 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo. I've upgraded to 16 gigabytes of RAM. Integrated NVIDIA graphics, etc. Nothing special. It's got an SSD in there. It's got actually it's got a couple of SSDs. I took out the optical drive and put another one in, and it's got the upgraded RAM. We're currently doing 4,293 points per day. One of the weaker machines I've got folding, but it's doing its part. All right. Moving on, we've got the 2011 5,2 Mac Mini. That's the server model. It's got graphics issues. We know it's got graphics issues. That's why it's running a patched Catalina right now, and it's in dark mode full time because it looks better. All right. So we are currently getting 9,598 points per day. We can probably refresh that. No, it's not going to refresh. Okay, but that's okay. Looking at the specs, I should remember to do that first. Okay, here we have about this Mac. 2.5 gigahertz dual core Intel Core i5. Now that's quite a big jump over the 2010 in terms of processor. The same 16 gigabytes upgraded there. As I say, quite a big jump in terms of processor, and the points reflected. It's a good chunk over twice as many points per day. All right. Now, moving on, we have the third Mac Mini, a Mac Mini 6,1. This is an upgraded base model. I don't know why it makes me sign in here, and it always, when it does, it refuses me the first time. Okay, this is inaccurate. This is inaccurate, and this is happening because it's just finished a project. It's not really getting a project going. So I checked this out ahead of time. This Mac Mini was doing 11,412 about 10-15 minutes ago. But yeah, it finished the project. It's got another project assigned. The program has not yet fully assessed how many points in this project, nor how many the average number of points per day. A lot of which of that estimate that can vary quite a bit. It's based a lot in the project it's working on. So I'm sorry about that. That's not an accurate reflection of this machine. It is. Let's get the specs up. Okay, yeah, because it is a 2.5 gigahertz dual core Intel Core i5, much like the 2011, but it is a bump in generation. You know, this is a better i5. All right. Darn. Oh well. Forgive me for that. I'm not going to redo all of this just for that one machine. Okay, now this is interesting. Now please remember the accurate assessment of what that 6,1 machine can do is between 11 and 12,000 points per day. Now we're going to look at the 6,2. This is the server grade, and I've got that password. Yeah, it'll auto unlock, but no, actually, I guess that one won't. Well, anyway, here we've got 39,275 points per day. Now you check that out. That is well over 3 times, pushing 4 times the performance of the 6,1. And we can see why that is. Yeah, 2.6 gigahertz, which is not a real bump, but it is a quad core, not a dual core, and quad core Core i7 as opposed to the i5. As I said, processor intensive work folding is. So that's reflected in this machine's performance, which is very, very good indeed. All right. Now I have one more Mac Mini. That is my 2018 Mac Mini. And let's take a look at the specs on this. It is a 3.6 gigahertz quad core Core i3, and I dearly wish I had this purchase to do over again. They had just come out. I just wanted a machine to be an extra workstation in a spare room. I didn't realize the potential that machine had, but I think we'll be able to see 61,000 points plus. And that's actually up a little bit from where I was checking it earlier. All right, so yeah, a huge jump over the 2012, which is a very, very capable machine. That 6,2 2012 is a very capable machine. Now, actually, the 6,1 is not a bad machine at all. Okay, so before we go anyplace else, we're going to sum up. These numbers vary, of course, considerably. A lot depends on the particular project that's being worked on at any given time. But as I check this, I think you can find Team Mac Mini here is running somewhere between a 125,000 points a day to, at the highest with a wind behind them, 130,000 points a day. Okay. So, how will Team Mac Pro stack up against that? Of course, there were 5 Mac Minis. There are only 4 Mac Pros, but I think you can guess where this is probably going. All right. So, this, thinking about this Mac, is our upgraded, as far as we can upgrade it, 2006 Mac Pro. Its processor has been upgraded. We have 2 by 3 gigahertz quads for a total of 8 cores. I could upgrade the RAM, and yeah, I could upgrade the graphics card too, although yeah, GPU is not a big factor in folding anyway. It has been flashed from 1,1 firmware to 2,1, and the system management controller has been updated to 2,1, reflecting the much more powerful processors. All right. And we see here, it just jumped up a little bit, didn't it? 25,968 points. Yeah, as we're sitting here, you can find that changing. And that's, in line, actually up a little bit. No, it's right in line with what it was doing when I checked it before, as it jumps down a little bit. Okay, so that's our 1,1 flashed to 2,1. The next Mac Pro up is the, where do we go? Ah, here we are. The 2008 3,1. This has been upgraded in terms of RAM, although it's not maxed out yet. Let's look at the specs. This Mac Pro early 2008. You may have noticed that about this Mac couldn't identify the 1,1. That's because it's confused. You know, the serial number on the machine says 1,1. Everything else about it says 2,1. All right. Processors have not yet been upgraded. They're going to be. This is 2 by 2.8 gigahertz quad cores. We're up to 32 gigabytes of RAM. I think you can go to 64. Not sure on that. And this is the machine in which I put the NVIDIA Quadro, which is a 2 gigabyte graphics card. All right. And yeah, we've got 35,900 plus points. Pretty darn good. And it's just about to charge through a rather hefty, almost 15,000 point work project. This was, so the 2 years in between the 1,1 and the 3,1 are certainly reflected here. Even without a processor bump, we've got, you know, over 10,000 more points per day here in the 3,1. All right. Now, I have 3 2010 Mac Pros. I'm sitting right in front of one which I identify as 5,1A. We're going to look at 5,1C. This is the one I pretty recently just put in the dual CPU tray, but those CPUs are not upgraded. We can see, if you didn't see that video, we can take a look here. We've got two 2.4 gigahertz quads, total of 8 cores, and 48 gigabytes of RAM. It's got the Radeon RX 580 with 8 gigabytes, so it is metal supported and is running Mojave natively. Alright. 43,407, which is down a little bit from what it was just doing, but again, that number varies. It can be 45, pushed kind of close to 50 at some times. All right. So, now we're going to see the difference between a Mac Pro dual tray with minimal upgrades. RAM's been upgraded, graphics cards been upgraded, processors have not been. And we're going to look at a 2010 Mac Pro that is heavily upgraded. It's going to do this thing. It'll shake at me and then accept it. I didn't change the password. All right. Here we go. All right, 116,000 points. That's, yeah, noticeably up from where it was just only 10 minutes ago. But yeah, that's about where it runs. Somewhere between 115,000 points, maybe a little less. It can get into the 120s per day, to the point where it's reading maybe close to as much as all 5 of the Mac Minis put together. Now this means our total here for Mac Pros only, 216, and it may get up as high as 220,000 points a day. So it's either just under or just, oh well, yeah, it's it's not quite twice the performance of the 5 Mac Minis, which, heck, not a surprise. These are Mac Pros. Now, I do have 3 other machines currently folding. Let's start with what's called here Polly's iMac. Polly Rohde was my mother-in-law, and a wonderful, beautiful person. I gave her in 2010 a 2009 iMac, similar to the one I had bought a few months earlier, because her Dell just got to the point where I could not keep it going in the then modern 2010 world. So I figured, okay, this is going to be a whole lot easier. If I just get her a Mac, I'm going to be able to deal with it better. You know, I'll be able to, screen share my way in and control the computer if I'm not there. She lived about an hour and 20 minutes away. I could go up there, but nice to be able to do things. Now, yeah, and this is about what this machine does. 6,118. So it's clearly doing better than the 2010 Mac Mini, which is not surprising. They're both Intel Core 2 Duo machines, but at 3.06 gigahertz, the Core 2 Duo runs faster on this machine than that machine. It is upgraded as far as it can go to 16 gigabytes of RAM. Not really a folding machine, but I know Polly would have enjoyed the idea that she was contributing somehow, so I've left it going. And it deals very well with the folding. It works slowly, but it works. All right. Quit out of that. Now, my 15-inch mid-2015 MacBook Pro. If I was down there, my watch would have unlocked that, but what the heck. And actually, we've taken a jump from what I saw earlier, a pretty substantial one, 31,721 points per day. Quite good performance for this machine. Not up to the 2012 Mac Mini, at least the server Mac Mini, the 6,2, but certainly very good. We can get an idea why. It too is a quad-core Intel Core i7, newer version of the i7, but running at a slower clock speed. And 16 gig of RAM. Darn Apple soldered onto the logic board, so you're not getting that off. Alright, but okay, see, it's gone down a little bit. Yeah, it'll vary just as you're looking at it here. But that's that's a ballpark score. And then the final folding machine to look at, my late 2015 27-inch iMac. I should have closed that out. I'll open it again later, and again, should remember to look at the specs. Yep, we've got 3.3 gigahertz quad-core Intel Core i5 with 32 gig of RAM. I thought I had maxed that out. When I first got this machine, I got it with the stock 8 gig, and RAM is one thing that's easy to upgrade on it. And I just went with what Apple said, 32 gigs. It'll actually take 64. One of these days I'll upgrade it again. 2 gigabyte graphics card. All in all, this is a very, very, very good machine. And our score reflects that. 55,856. And that's that 2 again is up a little bit. I've seen it get into the 60,000s. So it's runs in the general ballpark with the 2018 Mac Mini. Somewhat behind, but it is 3 years older. Of course, it's an i5, but it's an earlier generation of i5. Okay, so these 3 computers. Now, if we were assuming that I actually would let that MacBook Pro run like this all day long, would be doing between 85 and 90,000 points per day. The total score would be somewhere between 425,000 and 430,000 points per day. Pretty darn good. And I do want to take a brief look at the team. My fault is part of Team IMNC. That is, it's my natural color. If you haven't seen Tom's YouTube channel, you should check it out. It's a lot of fun. You get to feel like Tom is your friend, and he's invited you to his house to show you some of his neat stuff. I really enjoy those. Okay, now here I am in 7th place total on the team. And I suppose if I keep going, I could catch a couple of other people. This Vancouver Mac Mini server, 127 million points. Whoa. The team is 524th, but that is, of course, out of over 254,000 teams. Now, if we want to take a look, by the way, you can see just how many people are on the team. Team went shooting up once it was initially formed. It's kind of stalled out in the 500 range, slowly picking up steam, but it's done very, very, very well. Okay, just to look at my individual stats a little bit. Total score, and then the team score. Most of it has been with Team IMNC. And my ranking, 36,000th place, which, hey, give me a break. That's out of 2.7 million. Obviously, the competition, we're competitive people by nature. It's kind of fun to see the points rack up. It's kind of fun to see where you're ranking compared with other people on the team. But the big point is to accomplish something. So at any rate, we can answer the question. The 4 Mac Pros total more points, at least by a little bit, than all of the others put together. The 2 iMacs and the MacBook Pro, plus the Mac Minis, would be about 215,000. The Mac Pros right now are 216,000. So Mac Pros are powerful, and I think we've seen one thing in particular. It is very, very worth the time and effort to upgrade a 2010 Mac Pro as far as you can take it, because it's becomes still today in this time a very, very powerful machine. Not the incredible powerhouse it was back in 2010, but very, very powerful indeed. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look at the folding process. I'm not anticipating any other folding videos to come out unless something really unusual and fun were to happen. We can close out of our screen sharing now and wrap up the video. Please be good to other people. By doing that, you're going to make your own world better. Be good to yourself so you can enjoy that better world to its fullest. Take very, very good and careful care. We will be back with you with more videos very soon. This has been Broken Electronics.